Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Todd Schultz, and this is my EDL 901 District Technology Introduction. I am born and raised in the Wichita, Kansas area. I attended Wichita State for my undergraduate, and then I attended K-State and got a master's degree, all while teaching, and the same thing applies for another master's and now my district licensure for superintendent leader in district leadership from Fort Hays University online. I've been in education 14 years in the Wichita area. I've been in very small districts, little 2A schools with about a 400 student population, K-12, all the way up to Wichita School District, which is the largest school district in the state and also one of the largest employers in the state. So I've seen the spectrum of public school districts. Primarily, I've been a 5 through 12 band instructor. I currently am doing orchestra as well, and that's something that I really enjoy, music and staying tied to the professional affiliations and learning communities within music. My personal life, I have a wife and 2 daughters. We just welcomed our second girl 3 weeks ago, and we're enjoying getting used to that and having a fourth person now in the house. We're dog people, and we have 1 dog at home, and I'm a avid trumpet and piano player, musician and performer. And my wife, being from France, we like to travel, so we go back to France to see in-laws there and family. I've traveled all over Europe as well, and 22 different states in the U.S. So district administration to me is a chance for me to work with the population of the entire community, all stakeholders, and not just one classroom of students or one group of parents year after year. I feel like it's important to be the face of the district and share the challenges and joys that the district goes through together, and I feel it's the best place I can have real impact on kids at all grade levels. I also feel that I've enjoyed the finance classes that I've taken at the building level and district leadership, and I'm really looking forward to being a fiscal representative for the taxpayers at the district level. The article of Empowered Superintendent, I think, was a great all-encompassing read for me. It definitely pointed out some highlights that I think are going to be things that I can take into district leadership, and especially in the technology realm. It pointed a lot to how we prepare students for life after school. What we do with them in school really matters for what they can do to succeed in tech after K-12 education. I think it's going to be important to remember from this article the emphasis on aligning the district goals and vision with the tech goals and visions for the students. Those two things are not independent of one another, but very dependent on each other. I think that the follow-through on the tech vision is very important. That's something that is a continual process that I gathered from those readings. Constant reassessment must be done, and figuring out if you're integrating tech in the right ways and figuring out what ways there needs to be changes in order to keep raising that bar. Promoting connectedness across classrooms, I thought that was crucial. I often hear teachers talk about, well, the 4th grade team doesn't teach my kids such and such, and this is 5th grade teachers talking. Or the 9th grade teachers will say, oh, middle school, they don't prepare them for this when in my classroom. I think it's important in all subject matters, but for this course, for tech, we've got to figure out ways that we can align K-12 tech education in our districts and promote connectedness across all grade levels and across all disciplines. That's going to be really important, not just in a technology or computer class. How can we apply it in math, English, music, art? How can we apply that? I think the professional development among staff members, they spend a lot of time talking about that. As the superintendent, I'll be in charge of, or likely in charge of, staff development, and tech needs to be a very, very big part of that. Creating Positive Connections article. I loved this one. I spent my career as a band director, so I was constantly out in the community at football games, basketball games, parades, city events, performances, and I love the community connection. Creating these connections is so important to the success of me as a superintendent in the future, as well as the success of the district, therefore the students and the staff. It has to be planned and practiced every day in order for us to succeed. And I think it's important to always tie those back to the standards that we're aiming for, in this case the ISTE standards. And a lot of emphasis in this article was spent on understanding the use of social media and how the laws apply inside school and as well as outside school. I think that's going to be crucial as a district leader to be able to model that. The 5 strategies article really, to me, was more detailed than anything else. It gave me some really good ideas about figuring out the why behind what we're going to do in the tech world at the district level. That's one way that they pointed out that you can mitigate your fears of technology in the technology department if you're not very well versed in that. I think the idea of designing innovative learning spaces, having mobile and movable classrooms, is a really great idea. There's been tons of research that I've come across in my time at Fort Hays in the modules that points to the positive impact of students being able to adjust their learning environment while they're learning. And I think it's also good for the teachers as well to not have the exact same classroom for 30 years. It's kind of like a Groundhog Day in some sense. If it changes, it's going to be a good thing for everybody. The professional learning, we touched on that earlier. We must designate time. I liked that the district mentioned in the article said that every Thursday morning, I think it was, there was a 30-minute PD that every staff member was able to participate in with their content team on tech. And that's a very good idea to do. As I think back and critically reflect on my knowledge of the tech world, I really understand that I need to incorporate a vast array of organizational skills and relationships in order to maximize tech use within the district. Identifying the resources as a district leader and then really capitalizing on those relationships I've built. Employing the expertise of my tech department and tech leaders, as well as my staff and students. That's going to help me tie that to their learning as well as the district expectations. In addition to continued learning, I think that the district should outline the acceptable use policy. That's going to be very critical for everyone's safety, for them to understand the acceptable use and its consequences when it's not adhered to. And using technology effectively will hinge on students and staff's collective understanding of why and how we use the technology in the district. As I think further on, the access to technology for students is going to be important for me in my district. Finding grants and incorporating every bit of community resource I can, whether it's local or state or even federal, to help me integrate a technology master plan. I think having a chief technology officer in the district, no matter how small or how part-time or how it may look, whether it's a full-time position or a supplemental position, or you have a staff member that's the go-to for your district, if it's in a very tiny district and you can't afford a full-time tech person, that's going to be critical, because as a superintendent, I cannot wear that as another hat that I'm going to have to make sure I understand. Having somebody to delegate and designate responsibilities to, I feel is going to be a very way for me to be a strong advocate for tech in my district. And as a district leader, I know being a spearhead for the positive engagement with technology, my personal and professional use of social media must reflect the standards I hope to see from my staff and students. That's a great responsibility and something that should always be monitored and reflected on, and receiving feedback from my Board of Education, the community posts, and the website we traffic. This will ensure that everybody has the ability to make changes as the needs arise. And as I think through at a personal and professional level with this module and these readings, I really think that in my teaching and administrative duties that I've had so far, I always understand that tech is such a crucial role, and it's extremely helpful, and it's not something to shy away from just because we may not understand fully what it's capable of. It can and does make many facets of the school environment more organized. That's everything from ticket taking, money, balance sheets, obviously finance and record keeping, and to grades and parental interaction through Gradebook or PowerSchool or whatever you may use. I think those are great things. In addition to that, the technology that the kids have access to now, 3D printers, it's amazing what those kids can do in the classroom and actually have something tangible to show for it. I really think this course is going to be a good light off point for me to gather more information and learn from you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing that, and I look forward to meeting you guys in the future.